You're watching ABC7 News at 7.
Hopefully we'll have a meeting on the 12th that's going along very well, but I want it to be meaningful. It doesn't mean it gets all done at one meeting. Maybe you have to have a second or a third, and maybe we'll have none. But it's in good hands.
We are less than 2 weeks away from the scheduled, then not scheduled, then maybe scheduled again meeting between President Trump and Kim Jong-un. But Trump did meet him last night with a different Kim, a Kardashian. What is up with that? Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohn, and welcome to ABC 7 at 7. We'll have more on the week in Washington in a moment, but first, our top 7 stories at 7. It is both good police work and evidence of just how big a drug problem we have. The Sarasota County Sheriff's Office announcing one of the largest methamphetamine busts in Sarasota County history. Detectives seizing more than 8 pounds of meth, 400 grams of marijuana, prescription pills, a firearm, and $163,000 in cash after a 6-month investigation called Operation Night Train. 43-year-old Brian Tharp of Venice is being called the kingpin of the operation. Also charged Gary McLeod, Dylan Woodward, Kevin Preston, and Tharp's girlfriend Carly Potiker. The DEA says meth is only getting more pure and more lethal.
When I first joined DEA, you would see methamphetamine come in not as beautiful a form as crystal. It would be in chunks. It was yellow, 50 to 60% pure. Now you're seeing it above 90% pure. The methamphetamine and other psychostimulants are the result of 7,600 deaths in 2016.
More arrests and charges could be coming as the investigation continues. A follow-up now to an accident yesterday that claimed the life of a 21-year-old man. The man is now being identified as Callum Chu. He was riding a bike when he was hit by a large box truck. It is not yet known who was at fault. The Venice Police Department homicide detectives are still working the case.
38 years ago when I moved here, there were not cell phones, so there were no distractions. So when people drove, for the most part, they were focused on what they were doing.
The investigation continues. The Manatee County Sheriff's Office is starting a burglary task force. Last night, 5 cars were robbed and 1 was stolen in the Willow Walk subdivision in Palmetto. This surveillance video showing 3 to 4 people walking around checking for unlocked vehicles. So far this year, the Manatee County Sheriff's Office has had 650 vehicle burglaries. Starting tomorrow, the Sheriff's Office will begin a burglary task force to monitor neighborhoods, mainly in the overnight hours. New and disturbing video from the accused Parkland gunman Nicholas Cruz announcing his intention to become the next school shooter. In video release, which was taken off of his phone, Cruz says his goal was to shoot at least 20 people with an AR-15. Cruz also named Stoneman Douglas as his target. 17 people were killed February 14th. We must warn you, the video you're about to see is disturbing.
It's going to be a big event. And when you see me on the news, you'll all know who I am. You're all going to die. Pew, 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 pew. Yeah. Can't wait.
In March, a Broward County judge entered a not guilty plea on Cruz's behalf. The state of Florida has said it will seek the death penalty. The Tampa man accused of being the Seminole Heights killer making an appearance in court today. 24-year-old Howell Donaldson is facing 4 counts of first-degree murder. He is charged in connection with a series of fatal shootings in Tampa's Seminole Heights neighborhood last year. Donaldson was in court for a mental competency hearing, but the judge extended the proceedings, his lawyers asking for a delay so the doctor who examined him could testify. Donaldson will be back in court on June 29th. Local business owners tell us they are already feeling the effects of the state of emergency declared by the city of Sarasota for Lido Beach erosion. You can see the severity on the north and south ends of Lido Beach in this video taken by Sarasota Experience. Sarasota's city manager Tom Barwin says the beach has eroded another 5 to 7 feet. He declared a state of emergency to become eligible for any financial assistance available. The Lido Beach restaurant says it has already taken a hit to business.
It's cut into the revenue here quite a bit. It also depends on the weather a particular day. The days we've had rainy weather have kept people away as well. But the beach erosion, I know from friends of mine, they don't come here because they don't have the area that they like to sit.
In addition to eligibility for financial aid, the state of emergency declaration also gives property owners a permit to place up to 300 cubic yards of sand on the beach to protect their private property. This Friday, ABC7's First Alert weather team will explain everything you need to know before hurricane season, including evacuation routes, flood zones, what shelters are pet friendly and new transportation options, plus what you need to do to secure your home and boat and preparations you need to make for your pets. Experts will be in studio to answer your questions live on the air. Tune in Friday night, 7 p.m. right here on ABC7 for everything you need to know when surviving a hurricane. Now let's head over to ABC7's Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan with the First Alert forecast. Bob.
Yeah, if you can't get on those phones because they're always busy throughout the entire show, we'll be on Facebook Live too on our ABC7 WWSB page. So you want to put your questions down there too. We'll try to get to those. And if we don't get to them during that hour, we'll be trying to answer them after that hour too. Some clouds and showers off in the distance trying to build there, and they did. Some inland storms were pretty strong earlier today, but most of it is inland. There are some surface boundaries that are coming toward the coast, and they are going to kick off some showers. So it's not quite over yet, but the heavy weather is. It's over the east coast right now from Orlando stretching to Cape Canaveral. Look at that big storm right there in East Manatee County. That's producing a tremendous amount of rainfall. You'll watch this outflow boundary right here. As I put it into motion here, it actually really started that storm to really blow up. You see it moving on through. There's another one down to the south there. That's from some big storms inland, and that just caused us to fire up with some added lift as it moved on through. Now those boundaries are going to continue to work off to the west. We could see other storms starting to break out where these boundaries go through, but shouldn't be all that rough. We have flood warnings in effect. We have one at the Myakka Head there at the Manatee River in Manatee County. It's just barely flooding. And in Hidden River, that's been going on all week long. And the new one at Horse Creek, again, Hidden River is getting some flooding problems there. But again, the flooding is all pretty minor right now. And it looks as though we're going to see a couple of dry days, especially on Saturday and Sunday. We'll get more to the weekend weather coming up in a few minutes, but the weekend looks good.
Very good.
That's right.
Baseball season.
That's right.
Thanks a lot, Bob. Still to come, the president is handing out pardons like hotcakes, but good news, he's officially met with Kim Kardashian, not Kim Jong-un. And what's new with the Russia investigation? Stay with us.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. And as soon as I start to make my breakfast, Hamilton is right there. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. I mean, look at this little face. How could you not love him?
Okay, so what would you bring to my company?
What do you need?
I need problem-solving skills.
I got through high school without a car, a phone, or a computer.
No college degree, though.
Not yet, but life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
Are you a soccer mom or dad? Regardless of their age or experience level, when your kids play soccer or any other sport, there's one person on the sideline who is key to help recognize and seek medical care for sports-related concussion. It's you. You need to know the signs and symptoms of concussion, and you need to act if you think your child has been injured. Remember, when in doubt, sit them out. To learn more, go to cdc.gov/concussion. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004.
Selfless service is the principle that guides Army National Guard soldiers to be ready whenever disaster strikes. They have a stake in the well-being of the neighborhoods where they live and work. They train part-time to be ready to serve at all times. Selfless service. It's what inspires the men and women of the Army National Guard to be part of something greater than themselves. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more.
We are problem solvers striving for answers. Relevancy on every platform. We are driven to create content that's compelling, engaging, where it matters, We are neighbors that care about solutions, believers in making a difference, leaders, innovating in an exciting era of multimedia, reaching to always be the gold standard in our evolving landscape. We are Raycom Media. Find your opportunity today.
Download the all-new ABC7 First Alert weather app now.
President Trump announcing his latest pardon and hinting at others. The last three U.S. presidents, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, and Barack Obama, each waited more than 2 years after being elected to issue their first pardon. CNN's Jeff Zeleny reports what's behind the blitz.
President Trump sending more signals than ever today. He's in a pardoning mood. Out of the blue, the president announcing a full-scale pardon for conservative author and filmmaker Dinesh D'Souza, who's perhaps best known for his conspiracy theories about former President Barack Obama. Flying to Houston, the president telling reporters on Air Force One, "I called him last night, first time I've ever spoken to him. I said, I'm pardoning you. Nobody asked me to do it. I've always felt he was very unfairly treated." D'Souza pleaded guilty in 2014 to violating federal campaign finance laws by illegally asking two women, an employee and a woman with whom he was romantically involved, to donate $20,000 to the campaign of an old college friend running against Senator Kirsten Gillibrand in New York. He told them he would reimburse them. The president described those charges today as a quick minor fine, like everybody else with the election stuff. It's that election stuff, specifically Russian meddling and the special counsel's probe, that seems to be weighing on Trump's mind. He's flexing his presidential powers as his own fight escalates with the Justice Department. The president talking openly about the possibility of even more pardons for Martha Stewart and a commutation for former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich, in what could be a signal to the president's friends caught up in the Russia investigation.
I'm here with Donald and Melania Trump, and we're going to make a scrumptious meatloaf sandwich, which is Donald's favorite sandwich, according to Melania. Is that true?
It's very good.
Stewart, convicted of conspiracy and obstruction of justice in a securities fraud case, is an old friend of Trump's, even though she told CNN in 2016 he shouldn't be president.
I'm voting for Hillary Clinton. We just can't have a country run by someone who is totally unprepared for what comes.
But a possible pardon for Stewart could also be a way to settle scores with the prosecutor in the case, James Comey. That's the same James Comey the president fired last year as FBI director. And Blagojevich also has ties to Trump, seen here as a contestant on The Apprentice.
So, Governor, you have a hell of a lot of guts, I have to tell you that. I have friends where things have happened to them. They crawl into a corner, they die. You're out there punching, so I respect that.
I appreciate that.
Blagojevich, a former Illinois governor convicted of abusing the powers of his office, was sentenced to 14 years in prison in 2011.
In the moment, he is a former Republican candidate and businessman. She's a former Democratic chair and businesswoman. And when you want insight from the best political reporter around here, you call Wendy March. The trapezoid is next.
The following message is brought to you by Mesobook.com.
People who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma have many questions. How did I get this disease? What are my treatment options? How will this affect my loved ones? You need answers, which is why we offer a free book written by medical professionals who have treated mesothelioma.
Call toll-free at 1-800-777-1366 or go to mesobook.com.
My credit score was not that great.
I didn't understand what went into my credit score. It was overwhelming.
Do you want to attain better credit health but don't know where to start? Credit Sesame can help by providing you a free credit score.
I love the app. It's so easy to use. It's like having your own financial coach. Credit Sesame broke my credit score down into things that I understood, and it made me think, I can do this.
And the awesome thing about Credit Sesame, it's free.
It's 100% free. You don't need to go it alone. Get started today at creditsesame.com.
There's a lot of fear in coming back to school. I'm a 40-year-old man that walked in there to get his high school diploma. It was very hard for me, but one of the teachers was Miss Araceli. She gave me direction. Every single time I had a question, she'll put down whatever she's doing and she'll sit there with you until you get it. 50% of getting your high school diploma is walking through those doors. The other 50% is doing the work.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Imagine a world filled with pillow fights, playgrounds, and the search for the perfect climbing tree. Every kid deserves that world, but 1 in 5 kids in America struggle with hunger. At No Kid Hungry, we're committed to creating a world where every kid eats healthy food every day. We raise funds, we help families, and we lift up communities.
Performing on stage takes mental and physical preparation. But one thing I never thought to prepare for was cervical cancer. 91% of cervical cancers are caused by the human papillomavirus, or HPV. The good news is there are vaccines that can protect you or your children from cancer. I survived my cancer, but you can stop cancer before it starts. Talk to your doctor and go to thinkaboutthelink.org to learn more.
Welcome back. The Week in Politics. No, it is not Friday, but tomorrow is our big hurricane special, and it's not like the president will do anything outrageous in the next 24 hours or newsworthy. Today, the president pardoned extreme right-wing pundit Dinesh D'Souza, who was convicted of campaign law violations, even though D'Souza never asked for it. Trump also telling reporters he is considering pardoning Martha Stewart for lying to the FBI, and former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich, a Democrat who is still serving time for political corruption. Why? You tell me. All in a week where the president claims he didn't fire Comey over Russia, and one of the Republicans in that briefing about Spygate claims there was no FBI spy infiltrating the Trump campaign. And while his press secretary says the president has no time to react to Roseanne's racist tweet, he apparently finds time to demand an apology from ABC. And a few minutes for Kim Kardashian on her efforts for prison reform. Yeah, and we're not kidding. Joining us for more are Martin Hyde of the Sarasota Republican Party, Rita Ferrandino, former chair of the Sarasota Democratic Party, and Wendy March, the political correspondent for the Tampa Bay Times. Welcome to our Thursday version of the Week in Politics. And we're going to start with President Trump's tweet today about the Russia investigation. I think we have it on the screen here. The president tweeting this morning, "Not that it matters, but I never fired James Comey because of Russia!" Exclamation point. The corrupt mainstream media loves to keep pushing this narrative, but they know it's not true. And we would plead guilty except for this.
Recommendation, but regardless of recommendation, I was going to fire Comey. I said, you know, this Russia thing with Trump and Russia is a made-up story.
Martin, I'm going to start with you because this is almost like asking someone whether the sky is blue. The president said what he said just there. He tweeted what he tweeted this morning. How do you jive both things together?
Well, you can't. Clearly he's misspoken. I really don't think it makes a hell of a lot of difference why he fired him. He fired him and it was within his prerogative to do so.
And Rita, is that not the point? That if you ask your Republican friends around the Suncoast, where there are many, they just don't care what the president says about this because this is not the issue that they care about.
Well, I think what really people care about is we'd like to see stabilization occurring with our president, and we'd like to see a lot of this just stop. The noise is just incredible. We're not getting to the big important issues that people really do care about.
Wendy, what is at play here? Because you're going to get this reaction from Sarasota to Tampa to St. Pete. Is there an underlying strategy here in terms of the president, trying to reach out to his base and get them fired up, and that's what it's all about?
Well, there's been a lot of this coming out recently, statements by Giuliani and others. Administration people are acknowledging that they are, in fact, conducting a public relations war, and it's aimed at what happens when Mueller completes his investigation, if there are any indictments, if Trump himself is in any way implicated. They're trying to attack the messengers that report on what happens, and they're trying to report on the investigators who try to find out what happened.
Rudy Giuliani said something maybe absolutely truthful this week, that what this is all about is playing to public opinion, because when it gets down to it, a public opinion is going to play a key role should the Democrats take over the Congress and proceed on trying to get the president out of office, Martin.
Well, I think that's true enough. Of course, impeachment in itself is not going to get him out of office. You need a 2/3 majority, and that's just not going to happen. It hasn't happened in, 100+ years, and it's not going to happen now. Bill Clinton was found guilty but wasn't impeached, and the reality is that we're talking about and concerning ourselves with things which are just background noise, not concerned with what's happening in Korea, the stock market, the unemployment, or any of the things that are working.
Well, we might be talking about that more if the president was not putting out tweets like today and saying things that show obviously contradiction of the President of the United States.
And you had a beautiful show on just this week where you're looking at the stock market, and I believe what was said right here on this show with the analysts that you had, and is that it's not working, that we're seeing all-time volatility, and that two of the biggest stocks in the country are at 20-point lows with General Electric and Procter & Gamble.
All right, we have to take a quick break, and we're just getting warmed up, and we'll be talking about why the president putting tariffs on our closest allies right after we check the First Alert weather, so stay with us.
This is an important message for anyone with Medicare. You may be eligible for an all-in-one Medicare plan that combines hospital, medical, and prescription drug coverage together with extra benefits that may include dental, vision, hearing aids, and much more. Some of these plans have a $0 monthly premium regardless of your income. That's right. For one low plan premium, or in some cases a $0 premium, you may be able to get coverage for your hospital visits, doctor appointments, prescription drugs, routine dental care, eyeglasses and contact lenses, hearing aids, and possibly more. Today may be the first time you've heard about this type of Medicare plan. The advisors at the Medicare.com helpline are licensed insurance agents who will explain more when you call. Call now to see if you qualify. Call the number on your screen now. Call now to see if you qualify for these benefits. You worked hard for your Medicare. Now is the time for your Medicare to work hard for you. Not affiliated with or acting on behalf of any government agency or program.
Dear parents, it's time for a pop quiz. What's the best kind of play for kids? Play that makes us think? Or helps us pretend? Or teaches us rules? Or to be creative? Actually, every kind of play is important because different kinds of play give us different kinds of skills. Help us mix up the ways we play. Okay, class dismissed. Now go play.
About every 3 minutes in America, someone is diagnosed with a blood cancer. Light the Night brings together survivors and supporters to bring light to the darkness of cancer and to help fund life-saving research. Our goal is a world without blood cancers, and we're lighting the path to cures. The discoveries made in blood cancer research have led to breakthrough treatments for many cancers and other serious diseases. Help defeat the darkness of cancer. Join Light the Night today.
All hands on deck. What's up? I want to point out 3 tips for using the home computer more safely. Point away.
First, stop. Make sure your software is up to date and that you've password protected your computer's login and Wi-Fi connection.
Next, think before visiting a site, opening attachments, or clicking on links.
Then connect, knowing you're helping make the web safer for you
and for everyone. Make Stop, Think, Connect part of your daily online routine.
Our conversation on the on-again, off-again, maybe on-again summit with North Korea continues right after we get a check on the First Alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Thanks, Alan. A nice day today. Some sunshine out there compared to yesterday. We had that heavy rain in the morning and early afternoon. A little drier air has slipped in. On top of that, the low pressure that's been driving these storms as of late is slowly weakening. On top of that, high pressure nosing in from the east, and that high pressure ridge will be in place over the weekend. So get ready for a real nice weekend, albeit on the warm side. You can see some inland storms and some high cirrus clouds around looking from the satellite imagery. Look at this tide. Get a look at the tide. They'll be taking this through time. This is at 1:24 this afternoon. Anna Maria at Bimini Bay. You'll see that boat just kind of sinking down. And again, that's the result of the low tide coming in. Looks like about a 1.5 foot drop right there. So pretty good drop, and we'll be going into high tide here fairly soon. Good weather for areas up and down the coast right now. Good night for a nice sunset. You can see this rotation here. It's counterclockwise. It's coming down here. There's that trough of low pressure. It's slowly inching off to the west. This dry air is kind of moving and squeezing off to the west too. We have some dry air over the eastern portion of Cuba right now. Still a lot of moisture in place, so we're going to keep the rain chances fairly high for inland areas tomorrow mainly. There will be a few coastal showers around, but not a wide coverage of showers anticipated. Here's the high pressure ridge, which will again bring us that east to southeasterly wind. This trough of low pressure will get out of here just in time for the weekend. Look for plenty of sunshine. And as I mentioned, inland storms mainly tomorrow. This is one forecast model suggesting that we'll see some rainfall amounts up to a ½ inch in Sebring and near 2/10 of an inch in Arcadia. Not much near the coast. There could be a few brief showers, although it's not showing up. We're expecting a few brief showers in the morning near the coastline. You can still see a steady stream of moisture coming up from Cuba, but these showers are starting to move more off to the west, and that's a good sign. We're going to lose that southerly flow as that high pressure ridge with the east-southeasterly wind kind of keeps us in the clear over the weekend. Boy, big storms earlier near Orlando, Cape Canaveral, stretching southward just to the north of Fort Pierce tonight. One lone storm into actually two now into Hardee County, bringing some heavy rainfall in the northwestern portion of that county. Not much rainfall here today along the immediate coast, but inland areas, there were certain areas that picked up nearly 3 inches of rain, especially into Highlands County and up into southern portions of Pasco County. You can see that 1.4 in southeast Manatee. There are some flood warnings. We talked about them earlier. We have the Horse Creek, the Myakka River at the Myakka State Park, and the Manatee River at the Myakka Head, all with a flood warning. But it's minor flooding taking place right now, and with a dry weekend, it will help things out considerably. 82 degrees right now. We have some high clouds around, and the dew point's pretty high, 76. That makes it feel a little muggy out there, and it's going to be kind of a muggy day throughout the day on Friday. High today was 1 degree shy of the average, which is 88. No rainfall to report today. Got the viewer just sent me an email. They've had 14 inches of rainfall in this month in Inglewood and Venice. Not too far behind, anywhere from 10 to 12 inches in that city, as well as into Northport. We're at just about 7 inches. That's well above the average. This is typically a very dry month, May, but we're going to start our rainy season by mid-June. So with the ground saturated already, we're going to see the possibility of some flooding if that rainy season starts, and I think it will by mid-June. 85 for a high tomorrow. That's close to the water, upper 80s inland, and we'll see, again, a few scattered showers in the morning near the coast, most of the action inland later in the day. For boaters tomorrow, seas running 2 feet or less with a light chop out there. Should be good boating. South winds turn to the southwest at 10 knots, and the extended forecast then 50% chances for mainly inland storms tomorrow, 30% chance for a coastal shower in the morning. High temperatures pretty close to seasonal averages. It'll feel warmer, although we'll have plenty of sunshine over the weekend. The rain chance is pretty low at 20%. Alan will be back with his guests at the Trapezoid coming up right after this.
Designers do it with style.
Tell me what's going on here.
Why, you don't like my hair?
The Mark and Mandy Show. In-depth design ideas.
What is up with the tuck tape here? Let's cover it up.
Amazing beauty and fashion tips.
So Halle Berry has amazing skin. Her secret is coffee grounds. No.
Delicious recipes.
Today, I'm going to show you a special dish that is sure to please that special someone in your life.
Watch the Mark and Mandy Show right here on your favorite channel.
My name is Blake. I received a heart transplant when I was 2 weeks old. I play defense for the Red Hot Tornadoes. Sometimes my heart starts pounding like faster and faster as I go. I know I have someone else's heart inside me. It makes me feel happy because someone was generous enough to give me a second chance to live.
This gift of life was made possible by an organ donor. Imagine what you could make possible. Sign up as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Go to organdonor.gov.
My credit score was not that great.
I didn't understand what went into my credit score.
It was overwhelming.
Do you want to attain better credit health but don't know where to start? Credit Sesame can help by providing you a free credit score.
I love the app. It's so easy to use. It's like having your own financial coach.
Credit Sesame broke my credit score down into things that I understood, and it made me think, I can do this.
And the awesome thing about Credit Sesame, it's free.
It's 100% free. You don't need to go it alone. Get started today at creditsesame.com.
I'll be right back.
Hi. You think you're probably sober?
Yeah.
But you're thinking about taking the back roads home, just in case. If you're probably sober, then why would you do that? Good choice.
Probably okay isn't okay. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
That's a full glass of wine. I'll be chatting you later.
I just need a second.
Is your weight holding you back and affecting your health?
Did you see this? Your cousin had a heart attack.
Really?
Excess weight or obesity can be serious, but you can do something about it. Visit yourweightmatters.org. Download the free toolkit to prepare you to speak with a healthcare provider. Your weight does matter. Accept the challenge and take charge today. Visit yourweightmatters.org.
Welcome back. We are talking about the week in politics, and joining us for more are Martin Hyde of the Sarasota Republican Party, Rita Ferrandino, the former chair of the Sarasota Democratic Party, and Wendy March, the political correspondent for the Tampa Bay Times. In our latest installment of Spygate, the president tweeting today, "The corrupt mainstream media is working overtime, not to mention the infiltration of people, spies, informants into my campaign. Surveillance much?" Mr. President, you have to listen to one of your congressmen, a Republican, Trey Gowdy, the man who investigated Benghazi and everything involving Hillary Clinton for the last 8 years. This is what he said today.
I am even more convinced that the FBI did exactly what my fellow citizens would want them to do when they got the information they got, and that it has nothing to do with Donald Trump.
Martin, Trey Gowdy is on the Homeland Security Committee. He heard that briefing that Republicans and Democrats got last week. He is saying that the president is wrong when claiming the FBI was spying and infiltrating his campaign.
Based on what they've told him, I mean, the reality is we've spent, what, 15, 16 months looking into collusion, can't find any, and yet this is supposed to be over.
I'm sorry. What do you mean can't find any? Have you been talking to Robert Mueller?
No, but I mean, they haven't proven any collusion. There isn't any evidence.
Prosecutors usually reveal what they have before they indict anyone?
I don't know what this guy's about. I know that he spent 15 months and I haven't heard anything yet. I don't know how long it takes to investigate something that happened over a few months. 15 months later, we've got nowhere.
And how long did it take to investigate Watergate?
2 years.
Oh, 2 years. And what we're looking at now is Trey Gowdy saying that he knows for a fact something after just a matter of a few days. Based on what? Based on what the FBI told him? I don't know.
Rita, public opinion polls do show that Republicans increasingly are against the Mueller investigation, and that there is a general perception that people are getting, even Democrats, are getting tired of it. So what are your concerns about that?
I'm saddened by that, because we know that the White House has launched a very strong PR campaign to discredit the Mueller investigation. As you can hear the talking points from Mr. Hyde, I mean, it's nonstop propaganda against this, and it's taking hold. And what is wrong with having a full investigation of something so critical to our national security and our democracy? I want us to take as long as it takes, and I'm discouraged that the White House has taken this on as this propaganda machine.
Wendy, you know, I watch Bill Maher usually on Friday nights, and he says if the Democrats had cojones, they would be campaigning on that. We do not hear this in terms of the midterm elections. Democratic candidates out there demanding that we get to the bottom of this and making that a major issue in the midterm elections.
Well, there is a lot of feeling among Democrats that campaigning just on an anti-Trump platform is not going to work, is not a winning strategy, and they're probably right. But I think you are going to see Democrats standing up and saying that the investigation has to be completed, saying something like what Rita just said, that it's important to determine what hostile foreign powers are trying to interfere in American elections.
And Rita, what are the Democrats campaigning on? And I say this, and I ask this question often, because there was an interesting interview with John Kasich, the Republican governor of Ohio, today, where he basically said, in terms of the Republican Party and the Democratic Party, there's a pox on both your houses. Let's take a look.
I think the Republican Party is gone dormant. Now, I don't know where the Democrats are. I can't figure out what they're for. But what I can say to you is this rise of people who are now disruptors is heartening to me. It gives me hope for the future of the Congress.
The governor is talking about there is that there is an effort in Congress, both Republicans and Democrats, to do a discharge petition to get DACA voted on, because that's what the vast majority of Americans want. But he is saying that the Republican Party is now solely the Republican, the party of Trump, and not Republicans who, for decades, have fought the good fight in terms of taxes and so forth, and the Democrats, he's unsure of what they are running on in this midterm election.
So you've seen Democrats winning across the country in these special elections, and what you're seeing as the through line is that Democrats are reaching out to real people who want to speak on their own local issues. And so I think that the thread of what's really working is Democrats speaking to their own constituencies about what they can do to help them. And I think that the Democratic Party is realizing that we need to localize a lot of our elections, and we need representatives that are going to go to D.C. or to their state capitals to represent the needs of the people. And that's why I'm really excited about the 2018 elections.
But I don't hear an economic message that is designed to win back working class voters.
You certainly do if you listen to the governor's race and you look at what each of our Democratic governors candidates have very strong economic policy, and they're each crafting their own. Phil Levine has a very strong message on consumer. He believes in public-private partnerships to grow our economy. He has many ideas and platforms around that. Same with the other candidates.
Martin, John Kasich is one of those fellows that are being talked about. If anybody is going to challenge Donald Trump in the Republican primary, it may well be him. And he is drawing a distinction between Trump supporters and Republicans.
I agree. I mean, this, like Trump-like thing has entered the lexicon over the last couple of years. I was born in Britain. I grew up watching the movement from socialism to the Conservative Party in the 70s, the devastation of working under the socialists in the 70s, three-day weeks, power strikes. And I followed Margaret Thatcher. Many Americans of the same era followed Ronald Reagan. I don't think Donald Trump comes into the same category, but I'm not sure Kasich is a guy either.
I got to ask you about the flurry of pardons today. Dinesh D'Souza, who is an extreme right-wing Republican pundit who has said a lot of, frankly, offensive things, convicted of election violations. Martha Stewart, who voted for Hillary Clinton and said that the last thing she wanted to see was Donald Trump becoming president. And the former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich, who was accused of trying to sell Barack Obama's Senate seat when he was elected president. Why would this president pardon any of these guys?
Because he's always doing something on a Thursday or a Friday that's going to hit the weekend news cycle to keep himself in front and center. And I think it's disgraceful that he's using our legal system and his ability to pardon on such ridiculous things.
Wendy, what some people are speculating, and I'm wondering what your take is, that there is a message here to, General Flynn, to Michael Cohen, and to others who may be caught up in the federal investigations that, you get my back, I will have your back eventually.
Oh, sure. I mean, what he's saying to them is, I have this power, remember this, it can happen. And that was in the report that talked about this at the top of the show. It pointed out that previous presidents have not used pardon power nearly as often or as quickly as Trump's doing. So it's pretty clearly a message. I think, weren't Blagojevich and Martha Stewart both on The Apprentice with Trump?
Yeah, that seems to be a coincidence.
And of course, Dinesh D'Souza, as a conservative commentator, he's basically saying, if you're tight with me, I'll be tight with you. And he's going to take care of people who might get indicted and might be forced to turn on him.
Actually, pardon more people presidentially than any other president in living history.
Non-violent drug offenders.
Thank you. This is not.
This is
not play for pay favors.
I do want to ask you one more question, Martin, and that is the announcement today that the president is going to allow the tariffs protection to expire against our trade enemies, Canada, and the European governments, and Mexico. Your take as a free trader on that?
I don't know about enemies. I think America first.
It's not what friends do.
Well, it may not be what friends do, but we're in a competitive world, and the first place that we have to look is inward. We have to look at our own country. We have to look at our own economy. We're not responsible for Canada. We're not responsible for Mexico. We're not responsible for Europe. So far as I'm concerned, he's doing the right thing.
All right, we have to take a quick break, and we'll be back for final thoughts in a moment. Stay with us.
The following message is brought to you by Mesobook.com. People who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma have many questions. How did I get this disease? What are my treatment options? How will this affect my loved ones? You need answers, which is why we offer a free book written by medical professionals who have treated mesothelioma.
Call toll-free at 1-800-777-1366 or go to mesobook.com.
On average, an American household with at least one credit card struggles with over $15,000 in credit card debt. But right now, if you qualify for National Debt Relief's Debt Reset program, your debt balances and monthly payments will be reduced while you become debt-free in 24 to 48 months. Enroll now and there won't be any upfront costs or out-of-pocket expenses. To qualify for the Debt Reset program, you must have at least $10,000 or more in credit card debt, unsecured loan debt, collection debt, and/or medical bills. You must also be past due or struggling to make minimum monthly payments or considering filing for bankruptcy. If this sounds like you, avoid the serious consequences of bankruptcy and take advantage of National Debt Relief's Debt Reset program today and become debt-free in 24 to 48 months. Call now to see if you qualify. A debt relief counselor is available to assist you 24 hours a day.
Call 800-731-6432. That's 800-731-6432.
I'm Anne. I'm a scientist.
Recycling takes a team.
Why don't you let me and me help you out?
Everyone plays a part. Don't trash
I love taking stuff apart and building new things out of it.
what could be treasure.
Pal's my most advanced android. This is awesome. You haven't seen anything yet.
Give your cardboard box another life. Recycle.
Enjoy some of the best Suncoast restaurants on me. Just go to mysuncoast.com/dining, sign up for the newsletter if you haven't already, and you can win a $50 gift card to a restaurant in our area. We'll pick a winner each week, so go on our website and sign up now.
And our guest joining us right now for final thoughts, and I want to talk about the U.S. Senate race between Rick Scott and Bill Nelson for a moment, because for weeks now, the governor has been up with his own ads and independent ads, basically baking in, positive ads about himself and really negative ads about Bill Nelson. Finally, Bill Nelson is up with his own TV ads. It turns out he's a former astronaut. Rita, I mean, are you glad to see
So what's interesting to me is after $10 million of ads, Rick Scott didn't move his poll numbers at all. So the reason that Bill Nelson did not, he held his powder and his money, because we know Rick Scott's able to self-fund and has very deep pockets. The Nelson campaign was closely watching the results, what was happening with those ads, and they weren't making a difference. And so the Nelson campaign came in with a very positive ad of introducing Bill Nelson to many people as to what he is, which, is what's airing.
Wendy, but there has been increasing angst amongst Democrats in our area about the Nelson campaign and just the vast sums of money that Rick Scott has been dumping into advertising. Not just in our area. National Democrats have been worried about it too. There's been a lot of talk about when is Nelson going to get off the couch. The one theory is what Reed just said, that what Nelson was doing, knowing that Scott will be able to heavily outspend him, he wants to save his ammunition for when he's really going to need it. And he starts off, the other problem that Nelson's generally thought to have is he's never been a headline grabber comparable to, say, Marco Rubio, and the result is he doesn't have that much of a reputation one way or the other. So he starts off with an ad reminding people who he is. He's that guy that went up in space, the senator that went up in space. And he's the one who fought for Medicare and Social Security, and he was, it's one of his crowning achievements is saving those two programs. He worked hard on those. So, Rita says that Rick Scott has dumped a lot of money over the last few weeks, but his poll numbers have not really reflected that ad buy. Martin, what's going on there?
I don't know about polls. Trump was going to lose. 46 years in politics is a long time. I'm not surprised. It's tough for him to get off the sofa.
How many years did Rick Scott spend in business? So why is it wrong that...
Well, he wasn't doing that on the public dime. The reality is that he has had 40-odd years. His ads are very difficult to follow because he's only got 2 alleged achievements, which, as far as I'm concerned, were congressional ones.
We'll have to leave it there. But before we go, we want to share with you what some of you had to say about last night's show on post-college graduation life for millennials. According to the latest census, 31% of all 18 to 34-year-olds still live with their folks. That's compared to 26 in 1975. Is this because of low-paying entry-level jobs, the high cost of living, or both? We went to Facebook for your thoughts. And Timothy says poor choice of degrees mixed with entitlement syndrome leads to this. Rick adds, and parents that need to throw them out so they can learn about what life's about. Dana says, not all of us are enabled and have no life skills. I am living with my parents to pay off student loans because I went to nursing school. I am currently working as an RN and currently am back in school to get my MSN to become a nurse practitioner. And I am paying half of the mortgage among other large bills. So please don't stereotype us all. And Matthew says, sorry, older generations, but you're mistaken. Sure, there are some lazy young adults these days. Your generation had a few of them too. What is different is that the dollar you worked so hard for back then doesn't get half of what it did in your day. Well, if you'd like to join the conversation on tonight's topic, just visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/mysuncoast.com.abc7. And FYI, you can watch past discussions on demand. They're available on Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku. We want to thank our guests for being here tonight. Martin Hyde of the Sarasota Republican Party, Rita Ferrandino, the former chair of the Sarasota Democratic Party, and Wendy March, the political correspondent for the Tampa Bay Times. When we return, we'll have a final look at your first alert weather. Plus, pardons aren't the only thing President Trump was handing out today. Tariffs being issued to our closest allies. Stay with us.
Thank you.
You are the best protection she has. Buddy up. I'm Jill Harrington. Please visit helpsavethenextgirl.com and get involved.
Don't allow your weight to threaten your health or control your future. Excess weight or obesity can cause emotional and physical health risks. You can take control. The Your Weight Matters campaign offers free resources and tips to help you measure and understand your weight. Take the Your Weight Matters Challenge. The free toolkit prepares you to speak with a healthcare provider about your weight. Your weight does matter. Take the challenge and take control today.
In life after the military, it's our duty as veterans to have each other's back. I'm retired Colonel Greg Gatson, and it's my mission to help you get the benefits and services you've earned. If you need to file a VA claim, remember these important steps. Submit an online claim through ebenefits.va.gov. Work with an accredited Veteran Service Organization, or VSO. And if you need to attend a VA claim exam, please go. Visit this website to learn what to expect.
Your primetime headlines are coming up in a moment, but right now let's get a final check on our first alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan.
All right, just about ready to wrap this work week up. Just one more day, and that one more day will be ending from 7 to 8. The trapezoid will not be on. We'll be talking about hurricanes tomorrow. Again, that will be our hurricane special, Surviving a Hurricane 2018. A lot of great guests will be here to kind of give you an insight as to what you should be doing to prepare for this season. And as far as hurricanes go, we already had our first named storm. Alberto wasn't much of a storm for us, but it was around nonetheless, and now we have some high clouds out there in the Gulf. It should make for a pleasant evening, though. We're not anticipating anything too significant tonight. There's some outflow boundaries trying to get back to the coast, but those are, for the most part, mainly inland showers that are popping up here and there. Nice conditions out on the waters, too. A contrast to what we saw earlier this week when waves were up to 7 feet high as a result of Alberto working its way through the Gulf. Now, high pressure is going to be the dominating, influencing factor right through Saturday and Sunday. It's going to shift, and we're going to see that nice sunny day, it looks like, on both days, with a chance for a few passing showers. That dry air in that trough, you can see that air kind of rotating this narrow line that heads back up south. That's a little disturbance, a little weak line of low pressure. It's not doing much. It's in the upper levels of the atmosphere right now. But high pressure is kind of pushing everything well to the west, and that's what's going to happen as this thing leaves. It leaves behind some nice weather for the weekend. Well, the radar review is showing big storms today, inland areas. I think it'll be similar tomorrow. Most of the heavy storms that we see will be inland, pushing off toward the east coast. There'll be a few spotty showers along the coast in the morning and early afternoon. And then we're going to transition over to more of a southwesterly wind flow, which always favors a few coastal showers in the morning, but not many. But it will stay warm. It will be muggy, too, both on Saturday and Sunday. Boy, it's coming down heavy now at Cape Canaveral, stretching over to just to the east of Orlando, and then a few heavier cells into East Manatee County right now. As far as the rainfall estimates go, notice there's not a lot of blue along the coast. We didn't get much rainfall here. We had a few showers around earlier, not enough to really show up on the radar estimates, but it came down heavy in places, especially in northern Highlands County, where they saw 3 inches of rain in just a short period of time. And that is going to be the case for a few isolated storms tomorrow. It'll produce some heavy rainfall, but as I alluded to, most of that will be inland. And the 82-degree temperature right now is warm. It's muggy. It's up there. The humidity at 82%. We have a west wind at 7. The high today managed to get to 87 degrees. And rainfall, we're going to end this month on a dry note, but it hasn't been that way since mid-May. 6.92 inches of rainfall. That's boosted our yearly total up past an inch of being over average, almost 5 inches above average for us here as far as the monthly total goes. Well, for boaters, looks good tomorrow. We'll have south wind to southwest wind at 10 knots. There may be a few scattered showers around in the morning, not much. Should be able to navigate around those. A light chop on the bays and inland waters. The water temperature now at 80 degrees. UV index will be at an 8 tomorrow. Now the forecast for the next 7 days, our rain chances sliding down for the weekend. 20% on Saturday, the same on Sunday. And then on Monday and Thursday, pops up a little bit as a weak front gets close to us. People may be wondering about music on Maine tomorrow. Looks to be okay. We'll see a few showers around. I think most of it will be clear there, but there's a slight chance we could see an isolated shower or two. Well, much more on the Alan Cohn will have much more in primetime headlines coming up in just a few minutes. Stick around.
My credit score was not that great.
I didn't understand what went into my credit score. It was overwhelming.
Do you want to attain better credit health but don't know where to start? Credit Sesame can help by providing you a free credit score.
I love the app. It's so easy to use. It's like having your own financial coach. Credit Sesame broke my credit score down into things that I understood, and it made me think I can do this.
And the awesome thing about Credit Sesame, it's free.
It's 100% free.
You don't need to go it alone. Get started today at creditsesame.com.
It's been about a month, and I can honestly say I've seen the change in me. I went from being a depressed girl who didn't want help to this happy, caring girl who loves helping other people. I just really hope that people that went through what I went through get the help that they need, because their story is important and they are loved. Thank you so much for everything.
Tomorrow at 5 on ABC7's Good Morning Suncoast.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Webb.
And I'm Adam Cellini. It's the start of hurricane season, and NOAA says it could be a busy one.
We'll take a look at what we can expect this year and how you can take advantage of tax-free days to get prepared. That's tomorrow on Good Morning Suncoast. John?
We are watching a big ridge of high pressure build in over the weekend. That's certainly going to influence the weekend forecast. We'll tell you how bright and early.
Tomorrow at 5 on ABC7's Good Morning Suncoast. We're here for you.
Me. Oh, come on, man. Oh, man, I love technology. Hey, yo, check out my new phone. Look at this right here. For years, the DeSoto Club has needed improvements. Join me and Boys and Girls Club of Manatee County as we raise money to build a brand new facility. It will be bigger and better, just like it was 40 years ago when I attended. Invest in kids, build great futures.
Checking primetime headlines, President Trump followed through on a threat to impose tariffs on steel and aluminum imports from Europe, Mexico, and Canada. Those U.S. allies are now promising to retaliate. ABC's Danya Backus has more.
The long-promised decision by President Trump announced on Thursday. Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross saying Canada, Mexico, and the European Union will be placed under the 25% tariff on steel and the 10% tariff on aluminum starting at midnight. Ross on CNBC saying this is not a trade war.
No, not at all. As you know, this has been under discussion for quite a long time, and it's a very small percentage of the respective economies.
Reaction to the tariffs has been swift.
These tariffs are totally unacceptable.
Canada immediately announcing billions of dollars in retaliatory tariffs against the U.S.
These tariffs are an affront to the long-standing security partnership between Canada and the United States.
The European Union calling the move illegal, saying it plans to bring a case against the tariffs to the World Trade Organization. The EU could slap retaliatory tariffs on products like peanut butter, orange juice, and other goods.
This is a bad day for the world trade. The European Union cannot react to that without any kind of reaction.
Tariffs on steel imports to the U.S. could help local producers of the metal by making foreign products more expensive. But economists say prices on things like cars, appliances, and construction materials could rise, and those price hikes would be passed to consumers. The Automobile Alliance saying the tariffs will raise vehicle costs for consumers. Mexico has also announced it will take retaliatory measures. Danya Backus, ABC News, Los Angeles.
A scary moment for passengers on an Allegiant flight today. A plane heading from Cincinnati to Punta Gorda had to make a landing in Gainesville after a pilot suffered a seizure mid-flight. The pilot was taken to the hospital and is in good condition. The passengers later flew out of Gainesville and landed in Punta Gorda. And that's all the time we have for this evening. I'm Alan Cohn. Thanks for joining us. Have a good night.